iconic. PlayStation and Nintendo are both iconic brands when it comes to console gaming. And now, according to the head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, you can add another name to that list, the Xbox brand. What's going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another daily video. How's everybody's week going so far? I hope everybody's doing well, and we're going to be talking about iconic systems, iconic brands, Xbox Live, and a whole bunch of stuff from a Phil Spencer interview. I know, it's from a Time article dated June 19th, but I didn't see it until today, so I wanted to talk about it because there's a lot of cool information here, a lot of interesting stuff that I feel is worthy to talk about. First off, what is iconic? What systems would you consider to be the icons of console gaming? I mean, to me, when I think of my iconic systems, the ones that are like above all the others, of course you got the NES. Of course you have the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2 and the 360 and the Sega Genesis. But that's just for me. I wonder what everybody else out there feels. I'm sure other people will say PlayStation 3, maybe the Atari. It varies from person to person for what they consider to be iconic. Now, brands, on the other hand, is a little different story. Even though I'm not much of a Nintendo fan, I do recognize Nintendo is an iconic brand within console gaming. Same thing with PlayStation. I remember, most people would consider me an Xbox fanboy. I've been playing on Xbox for the last, 13 years. Got a million gamer score. Played over 1,000 games on the Xbox platform. But I originally kind of was a PlayStation fanboy. PS1 and PS2, two of my favorite systems of all time. They had some great, amazing games on those two consoles. I didn't get a PS3. I have a PS4 now. I'm working my way through its exclusive lineup. But of course, PlayStation is iconic. It's an iconic brand in console gaming, of course. Maybe even, you would say, the biggest iconic brand in console gaming. And now we have this interview with Phil Spencer, where he mentions that the Xbox brand is iconic with console gaming now. So in this quote, he says, "So when I think about our strengths in gaming today," well, let me read that again because I said it wrong. "So when I think about our strengths in gaming, today the Xbox brand is iconic with console gaming. We are also Windows as Microsoft, so we placed a big focus on Windows gaming, and that's a large addressable market that we haven't really played in that we're expanding in." So yeah, Phil says the Xbox brand is iconic, and before I make this video, when I saw this article kind of regurgitated from WCCFtech.com, I was thinking, is the Xbox brand iconic in console gaming? And for me, I think it is. I mean, obviously, I spent all my gaming time last gen on the 360. I've been on record saying that that's probably my favorite system and the games for it ever, basically. It's my number one system. The original Xbox I didn't get much time with, but I did fall in love with Halo. So I kind of agree with Phil's stance that the Xbox brand is now iconic with console gaming. I know a lot of people out there maybe won't necessarily agree, but I agree. At least it is to me. Like I said, all that kind of things is subjective. I mean, I think there's three big iconic brands in console gaming now, at least platform-wise: Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation. Of course, if you go off into and talk about like games, like Call of Duty would be an iconic console gaming franchise. Grand Theft Auto would be another. You can even talk about Minecraft being an iconic gaming franchise now. And that's the thing, like, at one point, Microsoft was only just Halo, and now it's more than that. Halo's not as big as it once is, but Xbox is still doing well, even though it's not doing as well as PlayStation. And I think a lot of people lose sight of that when they talk about sales and stuff. Now, the other interesting thing in this interview, there are a couple other things I want to mention, but one of the other things I do want to talk about is that he says that Xbox Live is one of the most critical, if not the most critical aspect they have. And let's see what he says here. He says, I see Xbox Live from a platform perspective as the most critical asset we have. Xbox Live is on iOS. It's on Android. We talked about crossplay with Switch. It's obviously on PC and Xbox. Interesting to think about that. You would think from a console manufacturer, a first-party publisher, that their exclusive content would be the most critical asset they have. Like, you think Nintendo, what would be Nintendo's most critical asset? To me, when I think of Nintendo, the first thing I think of is Mario. That is their critical asset. When I think of PlayStation, like, I think of Uncharted. When I think of PlayStation, I think of Naughty Dog. I think Naughty Dog is maybe their most critical asset. But then when you think about Xbox, I always thought Xbox as Halo, like Halo being their most critical asset. And then now you could say maybe Minecraft, with how successful Minecraft is, that it's the most critical asset. But when you actually think about it and look at it from Phil's perspective, maybe it really is Xbox Live. Maybe for Sony, it's PlayStation Network. I never really thought about it from that angle before. And we could talk about it here. Xbox Live being the most critical asset they have. Interesting, because they always talk about Xbox Live being like a social platform. Like Phil said, it's on iOS, it's on Android, so you're always connected to that platform and the friends you have on that platform. They're now doing crossplay with another console, which was basically unheard of years ago, even though it's just a Switch. Hopefully we get PlayStation. And it's with Minecraft and Rocket League, which is really cool, and it's obviously on PC with Windows 10 and things like that. So if you break it down, Xbox Live is a social network like Facebook. You get on the service, you sign up for it, whether you pay for Xbox Live Gold or not. You play the games, you play multiplayer games, you end up meeting friends, you end up playing games with those friends, and then whether you can call it peer pressure, you start buying the games that your friends want to play, and you start playing on Xbox. And when you're playing and spending money on Xbox Live, then you're not really playing and spending money on other platforms. They keep you in that ecosystem. The more money you spend and the more time you spend on Xbox, which, for them, is a $3 billion a year revenue stream for Xbox Live subscriptions. They give away free games to entice people to sub. They sell digital stuff on their storefront, which they get a nice cut from. But it's all, I think, revolves around that social aspect where you get on there, see what your friends are doing, play the games, and look at the games that are most played on PlayStation and Xbox. It's those multiplayer games. Not saying single player doesn't have its place, because, as you guys know, I love me some single player stuff. But you got Rainbow Six Siege, you got Overwatch, you have Halos, you have the huge multiplayer games that now all feature microtransactions and loot boxes and stuff. So you get a group of friends on, you play those games, you spend their money, and you get continuously get reinvested in the platform, and it's everywhere you go now. You're on the road with your phone, boom, Xbox app is there to see what people are doing, messaging your friends and stuff. Until I saw this quote, I didn't really think about Xbox Live in the way that Phil's talking about it. I always kind of was like, well, the most critical asset is one of their first-party IPs, clearly, like Halo. Same thing with like PlayStation, like Naughty Dog, because Naughty Dog creates those franchises now, and Nintendo with Mario. But then you think about it, it's like, well, maybe it's not. Maybe there's not. I mean, we've seen the charts and stuff. The top best-selling games all the time for the end of the year, all the multi-platform games. I mean, Sony, they don't basically sell any consoles during the holiday, or not consoles. They don't sell any exclusive games during the holidays, and they haven't for years. And this year seems a little bit sparse on Microsoft's end, because I think they realize that those big third-party multiplayer games are an asset to Xbox Live and PlayStation, where the two console manufacturers don't necessarily have to compete. They can release their games at a different time and serve that market. So it's an interesting kind of discussion, and it kind of opened my eyes to think about Xbox Live and PlayStation Network in a different way than I didn't before. I wonder what you guys think about that. But then there was another thing here, talking about Console Gamer, which I thought was interesting, and I'm going to briefly mention it. Maybe we'll talk about it and see what you guys think. He says here, when we think about the console space, it's not the largest segment in gaming by far, but it is a critical customer segment that's really important, and they love their games. You're damn right, Phil. We love our games. We love our games. That is true. And the best console gamers are the best gamers across every device, which not everybody sees, but we see it in the data. So if you're a great console gamer, you're probably playing a lot of PC games. You're probably playing a lot of games on your mobile device. You're just a gamer and you just want to play on every device. It's interesting. That is a very interesting quote there. I don't play PC games. I have for the longest time only played on Xbox. But I mean, I might be a different consumer than one he's particularly talking about because I own 700 Xbox games, even though the attach ratio would say that most people own 9. So it's an interesting quote here, and I'm not really sure what to take away from it, because he says, so if you're a great console gamer, which I consider myself to be a great console gamer, or maybe I'm even above a great console gamer, I don't know, you're probably playing a lot of PC games, which that isn't me. You're probably playing a lot of games on your mobile device, which that's not me either. You're just a gamer and you just want to play on every device. Well, I am just a gamer, and I recently got a PS4, and I do want to play those games too. I don't necessarily want to play on every device. So it's an interesting quote from Phil. I'm not exactly sure how to read into that as much. Maybe, he doesn't really expound on it at all in this article. I don't think he's necessarily saying, like, hey, if you're just a fanboy of one console and you only play on that, you're not a great console gamer. I'm not exactly sure of what what the point he's trying to make, because you can be a great console gamer. I mean, I'm sure there's PlayStation guys out there who freaking have owned 600 games on PlayStation, and PlayStation would consider them a great customer, but to say they're not a great console gamer is kind of weird. So I'm not really sure what the takeaway is from that whole kind of quote there. So anyways, guys, what do you think? Is the Xbox brand iconic with console gaming? What would you consider to be your iconic systems? I mentioned mine earlier in the vid. I'm sure you guys have your own choices. What do you think is Xbox and PlayStation's most critical asset? I thought it was first-party titles, but Phil says it's Xbox Live, which I can see his point, and this whole thing with console gaming. Look, the great console gamer. What do you guys think about that quote? Very interesting stuff. Let me know what you think. Check out all the comments. And as always, if you like the video, please smash that like button. Share this out with all your friends and followers so more people can discover the content. Subscribe if you're new or haven't already. And I will see everybody in the next vid. Later.